ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. Turn our heart to your religion. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحيات والإكرام على أشرف الأنبياء سيدنا ونبينا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا مولانا بالقاسم محمد مصطفى صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. وصل على اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. وصل على أئمة المسلمين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرض. روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. ويا ليتنا كنا معكم سيدي فنفوز والله 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 فوزا عظيما. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا سيد الشهداء عليه السلام. Brothers and sisters, my condolences to you all on this really sad occasion of the martyrdom of our master, of our beloved, of our Mawla, Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Hussein. Brothers and sisters, as Muharram progresses, one night passed, two nights passed, tonight is the third night. The night of the third. Tomorrow is the third day of Muharram. We are missing out on this opportunity, on this ilahi opportunity, this opportunity that God has given us. It's a God-granted opportunity to us. So take avail of it before it passes by. What do we say every night? Ya laytana kunna ma'akum. How I wish I was with you. فَنَفُوذَ وَاللَّهِ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. Because by God you had a great honor. Interesting. Every night we are praying that we were with Allah. But what have we done to make that reality? Tonight is a Thursday night, Shab al-Jum'ah. Brothers and sisters, tonight the ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is so highly recommended that in riwayat it's been mentioned that no Imam, no Prophet, no Nabi, no awliya misses the ziyarah tonight of Imam Hussein. We don't have to be in Karbala to do that ziyarah. We can do it from here. This is the place where we can do ziyarah from. You ask me, yes. Just take yourselves to the land, the holiness of that land, and take yourselves to do that ziyarah. Brothers and sisters, another thing I want to mention before I get started with today's topic is a hadith. And I'll try bringing one every night about the importance of these majalis. This hadith has been narrated it's from the Prophet ﷺ, where he says that no group of people mention the virtues of Ali ibn Abi Talib except that angels descend to them and encircle them. And when they're finished and the people are dispersed, the angels ascend to the heaven. And the other angels in heaven, they say, wow, what a nice smell you have. Where did you get this smell from? So we attended a majlis which was praising the Prophet and his family. And then the angels are like, take us to that majlis. We want to attend that majlis too. They were like, unfortunately, this majlis has ended. Unfortunately, this majlis has ended. So what do? The angels come. They're like, still take us there. They want to get whatever is left. They come down, and the scent that is left, they come back to the heavens over there. Brothers and sisters, this is the reality of that majlis. It has a greater essence to it than what you see. The zahir of this majlis, what you see, the banners, the people here, are nothing compared to what this actually means. So take advantage of this blessing and mercy that Allah has given us. With that, I would like to get started with today's majlis. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم وهو أصدق الصادقين وقوله الحق سورة البقرة آية 143 وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his holy book in Surah Al-Baqarah verse number 143 says, and we have made you people, a moderate nation. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةٌ وَسَطًا. And we have made you لَتَكُونَ شَهِيدًا عَلَى النَّاسِ. And we have made you a witness for mankind. وَيَكُونُ الرَّسُولَ عَلَيْكِ شَهِيدًا. And the Prophet is an example for you all. For the past few nights we have been discussing how to revive this Islamic ideology. The first thing was that this Islamic ideology is an ideology of the haqq. It's a truthful ideology. The followers, the person who makes this ideology itself is an ideology of the haqq. The second aspect of this ideology is that this ideology is an ideology fitratan. It is within you naturally. It is natural to you. It's within you innately. Allah made you with this within you. The value that brings to your life, just knowing that, is immense, brothers and sisters. And then the quality we want to discuss tonight. Just one quick thing. In last night, I forgot to mention that this ideology within us, this fitra within us, it is there, but people around you change it. People around you, the environment makes you go astray from it. That is why it's important to give every child, especially children, everyone a pure environment to grow. That is why tarbiyah, upbringing of a child, is so important, so that fitra, that ideology within is woken. It's there for someone to take advantage of. It's there as a means of guidance. أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. Doesn't the remembrance of Allah bring tranquility to your heart? That tranquility comes from the fitrah. It makes it harmonious with your heart. So remembrance of Allah, reminding your children of Allah, and making that environment pure for your children and for everyone to live in will bring peace, will bring harmony, will bring that fitrah, will revive that fitrah within your life. And the topic we want to discuss tonight is moderation. One more thing before I forget. There are two books I want to recommend to everyone. The first book is, this is something I used to get inspiration for the topic. And I used it in my first lecture too. Islamic Beliefs, Reclaiming the Narratives by Sayyid Ali Khamenei. This book is a very covering the Islamic framework, how to think in an Islamic manner. Second book, which I used for last night, this one's a little more philosophical and complicated. recommended, I would recommend this book to everyone. It is a book known as Fitra, titled Fitra, by Ayatollah Shahid Mutahari. Alright, now let's get started with today's topic. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, كَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا, I made you a moderate nation. So moderacy was implanted into this nation that Imam Hussein aimed to revive. So generally, the first quality that you would want to see is moderacy. Islam is a moderate religion, brothers and sisters. We don't go to extreme as Muslims. We don't ever want to, like, let me give you an example. Alright, that's more related to us. If someone plays basketball all day and does nothing but that, how is that turn out? Just does basketball all day. 24, like he sleeps and he plays basketball and eats. That's all he does. Of course, his life wouldn't be as healthy. He wouldn't be able to earn a solid earning unless he's in the NBA, then his job is publicity. That's different. If someone plays video games all day, he's not living a moderate life, right? At the end of the day, he will end up like 50 pounds overweight, 70 pounds overweight. He will become really overweight. And this is because, not because he was born that way, not because his genetics were such, because he chose to live an extreme life, right? Not because Allah made him that way, but because he chose to live an extreme life. Let me give you guys another example. If someone goes to the doctor every month or every week just to make sure he's doing well, or he takes too much Tylenol, even at the slightest of pains, eventually that won't be good for him. Either he'll run out of money because of the amount of money he spent on the Tylenol, or he won't, or he will have side effects to that. Right? So moderacy can never be good. Extremism can never be good. Moderacy is always good. Right? So this concept of being moderate is built in this Islamic concept. Right? Moderation is an establishment of a fitrah, of the human nature. That's what Allah emphasizes on. But now, the question comes up. Western media says all the time, Islam should be a modern religion. Don't you hear this, right? You open the news, you see pictures of ISIS and Daesh, and then they say Islam should be a modern religion. What does it mean to be moderate? All of a sudden, you're not allowed to tell someone to do this. You're not allowed to tell someone to not watch this video. Because why? Because you're being extreme. Someone comes and tells sisters to dress up properly, you're being extreme. Let them, they're practicing moderacy. You're the one being extreme. Brother, why are you telling us not to watch haram movies? Aren't you being extreme? You're implementing religion at an extreme. Someone comes and says, this is what Islam has to say and nothing else. Islam says, for example, you have to do matam. Brother, aren't you beating yourself? You're being extreme. 10 nights you have to wear black. Brother, aren't you being extreme? Didn't you just say Islam is a moderate religion? Why are you being extreme about it? Brothers and sisters, when we're understanding Islamic principles, it is important, in the mark of the kitab, the Quran that we have today, right? When we take one verse, it is important to take that in the context of the rest of the book. For any other book, it's fine to take one verse out. It's fine to take 2 words out and show what the author has said. But in the Quran, it is important to examine it as a concept of a whole. Because nothing contradicts in the Quran. Everything is one. The concept, the essence of the Quran is one. Hence, moderation is central to rest of the principles of Islam, and rest of the principles of Islam are essential to moderation. That's why, brothers, when Islam tells us to do something, pure Muhammad Islam, when it tells us to do something, it is impossible for that thing to be considered extreme. On the other hand, brothers and sisters, Allah has told us, yes, everything that I've assigned you in the Quran and its principles are Islam itself is moderate. Now you have to take that Islam and find relevancy in your life with it. You have to make it moderate in your life. Yani the principles of the West that go with moderation are contradicting the principles of Islam. In the West, what they have done is they have taken the scale of moderation. Islam is in the center, it has balanced everything out, and they have tipped it over just a bit so that Islam goes to the other end. And now Islam seems extreme. Why? When they show you all of this little stuff, they're like, okay, fine, this is extreme. But you know, one who doesn't want to dress up properly, that he's being moderate, or she's being moderate. So moderacy, the definition has been changed in the West. Moderacy in Islam is based on absolute truth. The truth gets to decide how moderate you be. You don't get to decide how moderate you want to be. The truth gets to decide how moderate you be. Because that's reality. That is the actual reality of Islam. The truth, ultimately, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets to define your life. You don't get to define your life. Because He knows what's best for you. He knows reality. Hence, when Islam talks about moderation, it's not an abstract concept. It's not a relative concept. Islam has a principle-based moderation. Now, when applying those principles in your life, you should be moderate. That is to say, you're not compromising your principles. You are definitely not compromising your principles. You are just being moderate when it comes to applying those principles in your life. Please recite Allah salawat ala Muhammad wa Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's see a few examples of extreme Islam. And I'm sure we have heard of this example a lot in the news. ISIS, Daesh, Muslim terrorists. Right? Let's talk about it. It's the Majlis of Billah. Let's take some modern day lessons for it. Are these really true Muslims? No. Why? Because essentially Islam is a moderate religion. Anyone who goes above the principles of Islam has created an immoderacy, has created immoderation in their life, has created extremism in their life. Hence, they have left the fold of Islam. What is moderation? Moderation is following the principles of Islam, abandoning them, going over the principles, contradicting some of the principles of Islam, makes you extreme. That is why when they go out in Syria and Saudi Arabia and the different places and they start killing people, that is not Islam. That is extremism. That has left the fold of Islam. Islam honors life to the utmost level. Islam respects your life so much. Even the lives of the kuffar are respected in Islam. Let's look at another example. Backbiting. Brothers and sisters, moderation is not what I think moderation is. Oh, I'm being moderate. I'm just mentioning what he did behind his back. I'm not exaggerating. I'm being moderate with it. No. That whole action of backbiting is extreme. There is no moderation when it comes to backbiting. Because clearly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, la yaskhar qawmun min qawm. Oh people, don't let one nation ridicule another nation. In the next ayah, Allah says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعد الظن إثم. O you who have faith, avoid suspicion. Alright? ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتبوا بعضكم بعضا, and do not backbite each other. So the concept of backbiting doesn't have modesty to it. In fact, it in its essence is extreme. So you cannot say, oh, I'm not backbiting, I'm being moderate. No, that action itself is extreme. You cannot backbite moderately. Another action is disunity. Causing disunity. Brothers, sisters, I am causing disunity in the name of the truth. We hear this a lot of the time. But Allah says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold on to the rope of God together, do not disunite. So causing disunity, the action itself is extreme. It has no justification in moderacy. It is not moderation when it comes to disunity. And then, for example, one of the examples that I want to give is religious Sufis. A lot of the time in history, you see these religious people, they go in the corner, they pray all day, they fast all day, they wear black clothes all year. They never take care of their family, they're always in a serious tone. They're always looking upset, never joking around. These people were called Jahalat al-Sufiyya. In the Hausa, they're made fun of. Jahalat al-Sufiyya. Those ignorant Sufis. What did they do? They did all of these crazy things that Islam did not prescribe. Again, what did they do? They went ahead of the religion of Islam. They went ahead of what God had told them. They went ahead of what the Prophet had told them. That's why they're considered extreme. There was someone who came to Imam Ali alayhi salam, and Imam Ali saw his very nice and beautiful house, and he was like, wow, you know, you can use this house to gain proximity to God, and this house will become a means to you to reach Jannah. The companion was like, thank you, bro. But you know, Imam Ali had a complaint of my brother. My brother, you know, he abandoned his family. He prays in the mosque all day. He doesn't take a shower. He wears black clothes. He does all of these ritualistic things. He is always 24/7 in his ritualistic mind, not taking care of his health, not taking care of his family. What do you say in regards to it? Imam Ali came to him and said, woe be to you. Imam Ali cursed him. Someone came to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam Sadiq was wearing nice clothes. He came to Imam Sadiq. Yeah, Imam Sadiq, woe be to you. Don't you know that your great grandparents, people like Rasulullah and Imam Ali, they used to wear such simple clothing? Why are you being extravagant? Imam Sadiq said, woe be to you. And he gave a long khutbah explaining what moderation is when it comes to Islam. Unfortunately, we don't have time to cover that khutbah today. I wish maybe one day, in fact, it could take a whole series of lectures on its own. Just that one khutbah of Imam Ali or Imam Sadiq, it could take a whole series just to explain the intricacies of this topic of moderation. Brothers and sisters, Allah forbids us to take things beyond our capacity. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. God doesn't test you. God doesn't test me beyond what we have in our capacity. If I cannot do this, it's really difficult. Sincerity is difficult on me. Allah has excused it from you. He has created that sense of moderation. Doing things in an extreme is haram in Islam. By this verse, if Allah has not assigned you beyond your capacity, why are you putting yourself beyond your capacity? Why are you testing yourself beyond your capacity when Allah hasn't tested you beyond your capacity? That is why it is very important to be moderate, so that we don't burn ourselves out. Some people come all these 10 nights, all of these majalis, I'm going to stay awake this night, I'm going to stay awake this night, and then subhanAllah, after the 10 nights, they're completely burnt out. Some people lose hope in religion. Some people run away from religion, all because they made one extreme choice. When they don't know that religion told them not to do that. Allah told them not to do that. Brothers and sisters, let's discuss the topic. We see a trend of gun often. Right? Some maraja, some ignorant maraja, they say that you should do blood matam. You should hurt yourself, Rabbi Abdullah, you know, this Tanjir. You should start making blood come out. What is this? When was this part of the principles of Islam? You tell me. In fact, there's a principle in Islam, لا ضررا ولا ضرارا في الإسلام. In Usul al-Fiqh. And that you're taught this principle. And it's an essential principle. There is no harm to you in Islam. You're not supposed to harm yourself in Islam. At the same time, anything that is harming you is not part of the principle of Islam. And anything that is part of the principle of Islam is not harming you. Brothers and sisters, why do some people go extreme? You tell me. Didn't we discuss last night that Allah made religion part of you? Fitratan, it is your nature, it is harmonious with you. This religion of Islam that Allah telling the Prophet to follow has been made from your nature. And we learn to respect our nature, we learn to respect ourselves yesterday. Brother, I said it's part of our nature. Why do people go extreme? Why do people go extreme? Because they think that's what God is telling them to do. Why do I sometimes practice an extreme? Because I think that's what God is telling me to do. You think that that's what God is telling you to do. There's people who show Islam to be extreme, the ISIS, the Daesh, they think that that's what God is telling them to do. But they haven't recognized what God is. They haven't recognized what God has told them to do. They haven't recognized that fitrah of theirs. Why? Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa Allah. One who has recognized himself has recognized Allah. So they have yet to recognize that fitrah. Hence they have yet to recognize what Allah has told them to do. And this is due to their own ignorance. They're ignorant beings. They're ignorant people. Imam Ali says, لا ترى جاهلا إلا مفرطا أو مفرطا. You do not find an ignorant person except that he's on either of the extreme. He's always an extremist. So all those people who are going in extremes, including myself, if I'm ever going in extreme, I'm ignorant, I don't know my responsibility, I don't know my duty. I am being an ignorant being. Brothers and sisters, wisdom and knowledge have been linked to moderation in the Quran. First by this hadith of Imam Ali that we just mentioned, and then in the Quran. In one of the verses of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَ أَوْسَطُكُمْ أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكُمْ لَوْلَا تَبْخُسُونَ. A moderate one. The literal translation of this verse is a moderate. Among you came and told you, didn't I tell you to glorify God? But from the context of this verse, you can understand that the Quran is trying to say, the Quran is using the word of moderation to describe a very wise person. So didn't a wise person among you come and tell you to glorify God? So the concept of moderation has been linked to wisdom, to gaining knowledge, to gaining wisdom. You must be moderate to gain knowledge. Or to be a practicing person, to be practicing Islam. Imam Jawad alayhi salam said, "Man amila ala ghayri ilmin afsada akthara mimma yusra." The one who acts without knowledge, he's causing more corruption than reform. And what was the goal of Imam saying? إني لم أجد أشرا ولا بطرا ولا مفسدا ولا ذنبا إنما خرجت لطلب الإسلام في أمة جدي. I want to create reform in the nation of my grandfather. How? Imam Jawad says through knowledge. That's a topic 2 nights in the future. Inshallah, we'll come back to that. But the point was that knowledge was linked to reform. Moderation was linked to the ummah. So knowledge is needed for the reform of moderation. Please recite with us salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, this moderation is a key to success. Imam Ali the Muhkam al-Balagha says, "Ma ala min qasada man tasada." He who is moderate does not become destitute, does not become needy. That means if I go out one day and spend all my money in an extreme, I'll become needy the next day, I'll become needy of money. So moderation prevents you from becoming needy of anything except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It prevents you from destitute. So if you're going through financial troubles, maybe one of the reasons could be because of a lack of moderation. Islam doesn't encourage overspending. Again, I worked out too much, and now I'm on the bed for the next 7 days. I went to the gym, I did a few too many pull-ups, just to impress a few people there. And subhanAllah, the next day, the day after, then I get a call from my professor, where am I? Nowhere to be seen. Right? Moderation prevents that failure. Right? I go to way too many majalis the next day. I get late for my class. I get late for work. Moderation prevents destitute. And brothers, finally, moderation and the story of Karbala. How does moderation have anything to do with Karbala? Remember, Imam Hussein aimed to revive the Ummah al-Wusta, the modern nation. Imam Ali has a very beautiful narration. Brothers and sisters, if you forget everything I said tonight, remember this one narration. قال عليه السلام. Please tell me so well. قال عليه السلام نحن نمرقة وسطى بها يلحق تاليا وإليها يرجع غاليا. We are that moderate pillow. We, the family of Rasulullah, are that moderate pillow. If anyone goes ahead, he must come back to us. If anyone lags behind, he must come forward to us. Brothers and sisters, there was a person by the name of Zuhair ibn Aqil. You find him in history, right? He was one of the Shuhada of Karbala. You know the story behind Zuhair ibn Aqil? Zuhair was trying to avoid the Imam of the time. Zuhair, he was coming back from Hajj, was going to Kufa, the same path of Imam Hussein, but he decided to stay back. When Imam Hussein would rest, he would go ahead. When Imam Hussein would stop, he would stop. When Imam Hussein would go ahead, he would stop. So that he would never meet with the Imam. He knew he was the Imam. He recognized him. He just didn't want to fight with the Imam. He didn't want to risk his life. But the Imam Ali says, we are the middle pillow. Anyone who goes forward should come back to us. Anyone who lags behind should come forward to us. Because that's where we'll find moderation. That means the Imam of the time is a rule, is a facet of moderation. He is the key to that moderation. You have to access it. You have to recognize it. You have to recognize him to recognize this concept of moderation. Whether you believe in Islam or not, moderation for everyone is with that Imam. Brothers and sisters, Zuhair, he avoided the Imam. But unfortunately for Zuhair, fortunately for the Imam at the time, eventually fortunately for Zuhair, there was one point where him and the Imam were side by side. And the messenger came and was saying to Zuhair and the messenger said, Zuhair, Imam Hussein wants to meet with you. Zuhair was like, do I really have to? His wife was like, you will not be a man until you go and meet the Imam of the time. Shame be to you, the Imam is calling you. And you're ignoring him? Ya Sahib al-Zaman, are you calling us? Are we ignoring you? Because he went to the Imam all the time. Brothers and sisters, history is not so in-depth that it tells us the conversation that Zuhair had with the Imam. But from what we know, Zuhair went back and he changed. He said, my wife, I am ready to offer you a divorce. Just let me go with my Mawla. Let me go with my Imam. Brothers, this is where we find relevancy to our religion. This is where our religion becomes relevant to us. It becomes part of our lives. Because we are in the same position as Zuhair today. The Imam of our time has called unto us. Whether you like it or not, he has called unto us. And we are expected to respond. Brothers and sisters, tonight is a Thursday night. Tomorrow is a Friday.
I don't know if you guys thought about this, but I just want to mention it, and I'll leave the conclusion up to you guys. Ashura next week falls on a Friday. Ashura falls on a Friday. It is narrated in some of our traditions that the Imam of the time will reappear on a Friday, and according to some other tradition, that Friday will be Ashura. Think about it. Today's Thursday night. If there is one change we can make so that we don't miss that caravan next week, inshallah. I don't know if it will happen, brother. I cannot claim to know if it will happen or not. But there's definitely hope for it. We are in more need for him than ever. We need him more than ever. Notice how much we have become dependent on him for everything. Do you think the religion of Islam would have lasted this long if it weren't for the Imam of the time? Do you think we would be sitting in these Majlis today if it wasn't for the Imam of the time? No. We don't realize that we are in need for him more than ever. Brothers, if you connect last night's topic with tonight's topic, you will see that everything is harmonious with nature. Even the Imam of the time, who is in his most pure form, who is in his most fitratan form, he is in harmony with the nature. Nature functions because of him. Everything functions in this world because of him. Brothers, and it's scientifically proven. Let me tell you that there is a connection between the human inside and the nature around us. So brothers and sisters, tonight I don't have much tragedy to narrate. I want to shed tears for the Imam of the time. Let's take ourselves to Karb bin Bala. Sallallahu alayka. Tonight is the night to ask for. Take yourselves under the body of Allah. Let's do our ziyarat. As-salamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn wa ala where are you? Are you in Medina tonight? Are you next to the grave of Fatima al-Zahra, weeping and crying, or condolences be to you for your Fatima? Are you next to the grave of Ali al-Muqtada in Najaf al-Ashraf, or Hassan al-Mujtaba? Or are you with the Anbiya and the Mursaleen in Karbala, recounting the tragedy of your father, Abu Abdullah? Ya Sahib al-Zaman, what tragedy are you recounting tonight? There were so many. Are you commemorating martyrs like Zuhair ibn Qayn and asking for your Zuhair ibn Qayn to stand up? Brothers and sisters, you know Zuhair no matter how much you ever been asking him what they want, he was one of the successful companions of Islam. So much so that he fought so bravely, the Maqtal marriage, he fought so bravely until he died. And on his grave, on his body, Imam Hussein came and said, Ya Zuhair, may Allah never separate you from us. That much of a reward he got at the end. That Imam prayed that he never be separated from Zuhair, and may Allah curse those pigs that killed you. Brothers and sisters, Ya Sahib al-Zaman, take us in tonight. Tonight we don't have anything. Well, I'm sitting here with no knowledge. I'm sitting here with nothing. We're sitting here for your need. We're sitting here to revive the Marsiya, to revive the Musibah of your grandfather Hussein. What Musibah are we reviving? What Musibah are you thinking about tonight? Or are you thinking about the severed body of Qasim al-Hassan, a 13-year-old in the plains of Karbala? Or are you thinking about the time where Hussein took out the spear from the chest of Ali al-Akbar? His own son. Imagine a father taking out the spear from the chest of his own son. Or are you recounting the tragedy of Hussein Shaheed himself? What a Mazloom person he was. When the Mal'oon came and sat on his chest. Ya Zainab, or aren't you recounting the tragedy of Sayyida Zainab? Where she had to be paraded through the cities like an item, not even like a human, like an item. Is that how they treated the princess of Kufa? Like an item? Brothers and sisters, last night we discussed the story of Hurr. If Hurr was someone who stopped the Imam from giving water, from taking water. If Hurr was the one who caused Imam Hussein to die in the place of Karbala eventually. And yet Imam Hussein forgave him. Ya Allah, we're here tonight to take your forgiveness. We're here tonight to take something from you. Just give us something. But give us a lot. Something that we can benefit from in our lives. أين الطالب بدم المقتول بكربلاء? All together, brothers and sisters. Where's the one who will take revenge for the blood of Hussein? أين الطالب بدم المقتول بكربلاء? Call out to Sahib al-Zaman tonight. أين الطالب بدم المقتول بكربلاء؟ أين الطالب بدم المقتول بكربلاء؟ اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. All together, اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. Brothers and sisters, take your hearts to Karbala. See, put yourself in front of the grave of Abu Abdullah. Leave your hearts there tonight. As a poet said,